do a better job for our city, for our citizens. Mayor, council. First of all, respect. I ask you to great to see your heart. Great people. Serve. Have your way tonight.
Please, so Lord.
Save us, God.
Please, so Lord.
Lead and guide. And treat others fair and right. God, we thank you. Good for us.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And just like to welcome to the executive session. Just please the council.
In addition, if I may, sorry. In addition to that, I'd like to move once we come out of executive session, subsequent to any action that's taken on the executive session issues, I'd like to move to have the vote on the levy brought after the executive session meeting. If that's okay with you, because it's your motion on it.
Before we go into executive session?
In his motion stands, and I won't try to attach it. My apologies.
With that said, but the question I'm asking, if in fact it's going to be the first order of business when we come out, can we just vote on the levy now? If that seems like, that's the way this council wants to move. Because we don't know how long we will be in the.
That's true.
If it's not any offense to the great alderman from the Fifth Ward.
Absolutely.
One of the problems that, this attorney, we're paying her by an hour, she's been here for
Right.
an hour or two already.
But how long is it going to take us to vote on the levy?
We're
Just going to call a roll.
Right.
And we move on.
Okay.
That's right.
So we first amending the agenda first, and then calling the roll.
It can be done in that order.
So that's your motion?
Yes, sir. So I need, okay.
Okay. Okay. Please tell me what we're doing right now so I can get this down right.
Okay, my motion is to move the ordinance number 3335 to call that to a vote now. So I guess that would be
Okay.
after number 3.
Okay. Call to a vote. Okay. Okay. With that being said,
And that was motion by me and second by Alderman Brown.
okay.
So we're not doing none of the other agenda? We are.
Oh, yeah. We're going to take the vote on the levy, then we're going to go into executive session, then we're going to come back out and finish the agenda.
Okay, the amendment of the agenda is called for ordinance.
I mean, so the full agenda will be, everyone will be in attendance for the full agenda tonight.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
To the public, can you explain the difference between the tax levy and the budget process, please?
Mr. Williams, would you please?
Please,
one more
I think
time?
it's important that they understand that fully.
Sorry.
The budget ordinance, the budget and appropriations ordinance, which is called properly, is due to be filed before the end of the first quarter of the fiscal year, which means the fiscal year begins May 1st. The budget and appropriations ordinance should be passed before July 31st. That's where you spell out the budget revenues and the budget expenditures by department across all funds. That's where you specifically appropriate salaries, where you specifically appropriate contractual services and other expenditures in your budget, okay? That is what happens in the budget process. What happens in the tax levy process is basically we summarize the same budget up top that we passed on the appropriations ordinance. What happens is then we then take that budget and say, here are the items we are levying for. And they're really more or less ad hoc. Because the bottom line is we levy in total for the general fund. The only thing in general fund we break out separately is fire protection and police protection. Because those are specific line items going really back to old days. But all that money, whether it's fire protection, police protection, or otherwise, is all general fund revenue. I'm sorry, you had a
No,
question?
thank you. And I just need clarification because as Alderman Price had said, the difference between the levy and the appropriation ordinance. Last year, when we did this, and Alderman Price and I were in agreement, last year, we had agreed to levy and we passed the levy. Well, I believe so. Then when it came down to the appropriation budget, we allocated funds for legislative attorney. But once this got passed and the budget got passed, it was override and the legislative attorney was removed from the budget. So that is an option. What we propose here, that is just a suggestion, but the mayor has the authority to override it and change it.
Well, see, it wasn't overwritten. The budget, any allocation for legislative attorney would have happened in the budget and appropriations process.
We did that.
Not in the levy.
Right. and we
Okay,
did
so that's what happened. But in the prior appropriations ordinance, it was just included in legal fees. It was not taken out the budget.
Well, in the prior, in December, we had allocated that, and then when the budget came in May 8th, when we got sworn in, that was removed from what we approved it for, because we did that last in December, and the appropriation. But nevertheless, I just want the flexibility.
What happened was the alderman didn't have enough votes to override the mayor's veto.
Well, no, we weren't permitted, I was not permitted to bring it back, because this budget was approved the day we got sworn in. So I voted yes for it, because the only time we could bring it back is if it was an affirmative vote. I voted yes. At that time, if we go back through the minutes, I was told no, because that was under old business and we could not bring it back. Then on the following month, on May 26th, that was the time, I will admit, we could not get it back on the agenda to override it, and I left on May
It wasn't that
26th.
we couldn't get it back on the agenda, it wasn't put on it.
It wasn't put back on the
But
agenda, that is
isn't that
correct.
part
Wait,
of
wait,
what
wait,
we're in
wait.
litigation about?
Now,
Yes, but that is what I'm just saying.
but to what you're saying, and you're correct, but when they asked to put it back on the agenda, it was asked by two people that did not take part in that vote. That's why it was not put on the agenda. It had nothing to do, you and Whittington didn't request it, I believe it was Chris Clark and Lamont that requested it, and they were not part of that vote.
Yeah, it was for.
Not on the paper that was turned in.
But that's not important.
That's very important.
It may be important in terms of technology, in technical terms, but what's really important is that the government, the constitutional right, that is so simple that the mayor had a veto. And here we are now at the 11th hour talking about a levy. We need to come to the point, forget about litigation, what we've been talking about, and let the mayor just let the committees go forth and let them do the job.
You put it
Well,
in litigation.
the committees are in litigation.
Yeah, but that's not important.
It's very
It's really
important.
important.
Well, that litigation can be resolved by the stroke of a
That's
pen.
very,
Yeah.
very important.
The mayor has a sole say-so about ending this whole,
No.
thing.
Can we take a vote next meeting to release the executive session minutes that occurred in that back room when people came to agreements?
Oh, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we cannot, because the clerk did not record the entire session, because that was such a silly, if you thought this was a poor display, let me tell you, back in that room was a horrible display. And the clerk at that time got very frustrated, and for those of you who were present, know, and I'm sure, not proudly, heard us in that room.
We
So,
came to certain agreements in that room,
We're still paying
And
them.
when they were,
attorney by the hour.
when they were written out, which they're still on that board, once everything was agreed on, it was another ultimatum put on the table, and that's the stuff that the people need to know. What was the other ultimatum that was put on that table in that back room? And we need to release those tapes and let the public know what they were basically saying they wanted done in order to even allow what was agreed on that board.
Great point.
We gotta release them.
If I,
Yeah.
It's a total transparency. We gotta release it. Any other ones that we have, let that even have executive session, let's talk about it right here.
Certain things gotta go in executive session, sir.
And there we go.
Okay, are we ready to do this, vote on this?
Did I finish answering the question, Alderman, I'm sorry, about the difference between the appropriation and the tax levy?
I just want
The tax levy is strictly,
that the line items come
there's
through.
one line item that's on the budget that basically we are handling with this tax levy. That's strictly the matter of how we're going to levy the real estate taxes that were already budgeted. Pure and simple, that's it. Not whether or not we're gonna spend $100 on office supplies or $20,000 on legislative council. That's not what the tax levy is. It's how much are we going to levy for real estate taxes. Again, I'll make myself clear in this, is if people want to discuss financial statements, I sent out an email. We did pass this ordinance. I know the clerk sent out a letter from the clerk saying they're giving us to when May
May 1st.
May
the 2nd to pass this. I received no request that says I want to see the levy or I want to see financial statements. If that's a request, or if another committee of the whole to discuss the financial statements after I send them, again, I have no problem.
I sent my request back in June. I'm still waiting.
That's in line in August.
Yeah,
Or
June.
July.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
are we ready to,
Yes, Alderman Clark, would you be so kind as to make that motion again for ordinance number 3335?
Come
We're gonna make
to,
sure our agenda is complete tonight, so. Yeah, because they go in and then try to leave after the executive session. That's why I didn't really want to, deviate from this particular agenda.
Yeah, but
Because we got some very important items on this agenda that we gotta discuss.
I understand that, Mayor, but Alderman Clark
We can run through
motion
the agenda very quickly.
okay, and Alderman Brown seconded, so.
The first problem was the meeting of the whole.
Right.
That was done, it was laid out. I mean, they got the right to move it, let them move it. If they leave, I mean, the people,
no, I'm just trying to, because we see things going on.
I just want to make sure the agenda is going to be
Right,
complete.
that's not an issue. The issue is.
So the issue now is the tax
Total levies, we can go in executive session so that we can get the attorneys being paid by the hour out of it
Absolutely.
and keep it rolling after that.
So I thought we were going to take a
Thank you.
vote on the tax levy, then we go into executive session.
Right,
Right.
that was it.
Okay. Alderman Clark, go ahead.
So I move to, change the order of the agenda, moving ordinance number 3335, up to, I guess, number 4 on the agenda.
A second.
Okay. Alderwoman DeWinsky,
To move it, yes.
Alderman Whittington,
Yes.
Alderman Clark, Alderman Brown,
Aye.
Alderman Neville,
Aye.
and Alderman Price.
yes.
Okay, item, ordinance number 3335 has been moved to what place? Number 4. Okay,
Let me just add for the record,
okay.
let the record reflect that there is no quantitative nor qualitative data with respect to my manhood. I just want to say that,
Allegedly.
I just want to say that, since there's no quantitative data, and I've never had a man challenge my manhood, so I'm kind of, and then let me just say this, with all due respect to African Americans, gays that have been discriminated throughout the country, I would never make a a negative remark relative to gays or lesbians or African Americans. So again, I just wanted to.
Protected class, and this is a
Yes.
government.
And I just,
I didn't take that as
well, I just want to put that in the record because now it's going to become a matter of law. And so now, certainly I want to put that in the record because now somebody will have some more court action they're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, I didn't take that as
So with that said, we will move to executive session. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. But, you know, back in the day, we say just go no.
Alderman Clark, Alderwoman Lewinsky.
Now you're gonna need a motion.
Excuse me. I wanted to put that protected in the minutes, you know, so that, yeah, please, attorney. At the,
I was just saying that lesbian, gay, transgender, that's a protected class.
Yes.
And if someone identifies their sexual orientation, whatever it is, and calling them something else would be a negative aspersion, and it is protected by federal and state law, so it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate for us to address that type of thing.
Allegedly.
Oh, that's a hate law. That's a hate. Yeah. So yeah, that's a hate. Yeah, it's certainly hate. And I want to enter that as a hate crime. No. We can't say that. We said no. You didn't say you heard. He said I was. So it's done. Now it's a matter of law.
Again, sexual identification, whatever it is, it's inappropriate. It was sexual identification and it's inappropriate.
Now, I just wanted to enter that so as I start my lawsuit. And I believe it's a hate crime, sex crime. But my thing is, the only way to find out if a man is real.
Alderman Clark, could you please motion for this 30?
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve.
33.
I don't even know what number it is.
35.
An ordinance of the city of Harvard levying taxes for the fiscal year beginning May 1, 2015, ending April 30th, 2016.
Then I want
Thank you so much.
to get that filed tomorrow.
Okay, Alderwoman Lewinsky.
Who seconded it?
Bryce.
Oh, got it. Okay, now we got the first and second. My vote is no.
Alderman Whittington.
No.
Alderman Clark.
Nay.
Alderman Brown.
No.
Alderman Desmond.
Aye.
Alderman Price.
Yes. Even though I can't vote, I'll say yes. Yeah. So
now we go into executive session. Alderman Desmond, who seconded?
What were you saying?
To go into executive session, Alderwoman Lewinsky. Whittington. Brown.
We have not made a motion to actually move executive session yet.
I make the motion, we move into executive session.
That we change the order of the agenda.
Wait a minute.
We have not made a motion to change the order of the agenda moving into, moving executive session up, as which Alderman Nesbitt wanted us to do. We haven't done that yet. So we're out of order. I mean, I'm all for going into executive session.
We need a second.
has it been moved in second?
Lewinsky moved.
There's not a second.
Lewinsky moved it. I need a second.
Nesbitt brought it up, I just seconded it. So now we're going, now we need a motion.
Alderman Lewinsky.
Yes.
Alderman Whittington. Alderman Clark. Alderman Brown. Alderman Nesbitt. And Alderman Price.
I
We still got another vote to take, but the only thing we did is we have been.
Do this for my first word
Whatever.
We got the motion.
You got the motion and the second. Just wait until. I made the motion.
Alderwoman Lewinsky.
Present.
Alderman Whittington.
Aye.
Alderman Clark.
Here, present.
Here, okay. Alderman Brown.
Present.
Alderman Desmond. And Alderman Price.
Yes.
Okay, reconvene from executive session at 8:50. Thank you. Okay, yeah, you got it.
There needs to be a motion on the floor relative to the discussion.
I make a motion to approve settlement agreement advised by the attorney.
A motion on the floor.
I would like to add to that up to $100,000 as it was discussed.
Move the second, roll call.
Okay. Alderwoman Lewinsky.
Yes.
Alderman Whittington.
Yes.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Desmond.
Yes.
And Alderman Price.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Number 6, y'all mark that down, that's 2 6.
Hey.
We had one last.
Thank you so much.
You got one.
This time,
Don't
we
be quick to get
city
three
clerk's
sixes.
report.
Got enough now.
Right.
Okay, city treasurer report.
It's before you in writing there.
Thank you.
I just have one quick question. Because I always see, the reports say unrestricted. Are we ever going to get an idea of what's in restricted?
I can give you a restriction report.
Okay, thank you.
You
Just,
want a restricted report?
yes, ma'am, please. Thank you.
Okay.
If that's it, we'll add that to the minutes, and then we'll move to item number 7. Approval of minutes dated Monday, February 22nd, 2016, and March 28th, 2016. What's the pleasure of the council?
The adjustments for February 22nd, I didn't get a copy of it, so it wasn't in the packet. I only got the minutes for, I'm sorry, I got the minutes right here, for March 28th. So February 22nd wasn't a part, so the adjustments. But I think actually some of this stuff is redundant in both meetings. So I think we should table both of them and to go through it, because what was reported on February 22nd is added in on the March 28th.
It's edited?
Added in, I believe. There was a few things, so it didn't flow. We have 2 page 8s here. And then I believe,
There's 2 pages.
yeah, there's 2 page 8s.
And then there's not a February 22nd.
Software presentation.
Okay, what I'll do this time is, you're stating that you want to table both February 22nd, 2016.
You know what, I might have,
No, it's only one. Just, it's no, there's,
the motion to table February 22nd minutes asked if the adjustments were made. So February 22nd was not a part of this packet. So that was not in here. So I would suggest that we table February 22nd.
Okay. Okay.
Pleasure of council.
Second.
Move the second, roll call.
We don't, okay, it's tabled.
What about March 28th? What's the pleasure?
Again, due to the tape, some of the stuff was responded that she couldn't hear the tape during the mayor's presentation.
Okay,
So you want
you're-
to table both of them? We'll make, you making a motion to table.
Yeah, I tabled,
Mr. Mayor, we'll make a motion to table it to the February 22nd and
That was
March 28th.
28.
Okay. Okay, the minutes are tabled for February 22nd and March 28th. And I would that you all would please come to me and let me know what it is that is not, because this is, you know.
right, but I did that before, and I have explained why I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, next item is item number 8, approval of bills and payment dated March 14, 28,
All right. Go ahead.
and also April 11th. So it's the 14th and the 28th and April 11th. What's the pleasure of the council?
I'd like to make the motion to table both of those.
Second.
Okay.
Table, okay.
This time, I'd like to move to a report by the mayor. Each alderman should have a copy of the mayor's veto ordinance, number 3336, number 3337, number 3338, number 3339, and number 3340. I'd like to enter those vetoes as part of the minutes so that those vetoes can be, I'll move to my PowerPoint so I can explain.
Okay, you're going to explain?
Yes.
Okay.
Purpose of it. Give me a couple minutes. Before I move to the PowerPoint, my glasses are on, so I had to grab a pair of these Walgreens. They're not working. No, I can't. I put those on tonight.
We need to remind you.
That's right, that's right.
Oh, well.
All right, where we at? Well, first of all, I just want to say that during my report, I'm going to talk about a couple things, but as you know, our country has experienced some of the worst economic downturn in the history of our country since the Great Depression, which resulted in states and counties being affected by this crisis. Despite those various challenges, as I indicated earlier, we have been able to provide service, sustain and maintain a great deal of economic prosperity. And so I certainly want to thank all my department heads for working very collaboratively with my office to ensure that the things that you heard tonight, the city's moving forward and we're turning the corner. But on this past Saturday, oftentimes I don't ask my department head, and certainly I have no control over elected officials. But this past Saturday, and I just want to publicly acknowledge Alderman Price, our planning director, Tanya Rufus, Superintendent Rufus Fisher, Water Administrator Andre Lewis, and Lamar, for just a job well done. I'd just like to say that they took time away from their family, they took time away from their friends to attend a meeting designed to I thought, bash the city and misrepresent the facts. And so I kind of said, I just again want to thank them for defending the city with truth. I certainly appreciate and applaud their dedicated efforts with respect to this past Saturday for being able to articulate and provide the citizens of Harvey actual factual numbers. And again, I just want to say that I'm very grateful for Alderman Price, Mr. Lewis, and Lamar and Rufus Fisher. I'm glad and grateful for their intervention and their positive action and words to help resolve some issues that was attempted to turn into a negative nightmare. So again, I just want to thank Alderman Price again for his leadership and for interceding on behalf of the city with facts. And so it goes to say that, you know, as an elected official, it's always good to have someone out there, you know, talking positive about the city. And it's good to have an elected official like Alderman Price who has been able to research the issues and articulate the facts. It's very rewarding to have administrators like Ms. Rufus, Mr. Fisher, and Mr. Lewis, as well as employees such as Lamar who disseminate the facts relative to the water issue. And so it's good to have them advocating for truth and transparency while exhibiting, you know, their political and administrative talents to advocate for the truth. So I just wanted to say personally, I want to thank you, Alderman Price, Mrs. Rufus, Ms. Rufus, Mr. Fisher, Lamar, for a job well done, because I had about 15 calls, and they said they went there with the intention of one thing, but when they heard Alderman Price and my department heads articulate on the facts, they were very encouraged by what they heard. So again, I want to thank you guys for that. Said, now I'll move to the PowerPoint presentation.
It's 9 o'clock. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Due to the information released on the tapes,
I got a motion on the floor.
I requested, she don't have to come.
Don't do that.
Even if they leave,
Yeah.
we can discuss anything. You just
Yeah,
can't act on
but
it.
first of
Motion
all,
by,
excuse me, clerk, we say, due to the information released on the tape, the chief of police and RD,
Call the roll, Madam
institute
Clerk.
a security plan for all our administrators.
Call the roll.
Certainly, I'm
I
very
said,
glad that,
Lewinsky, Williamson,
this copy of the safety and security plan has been implemented to ensure that my staff, elected officials, and myself can travel throughout this great city. I've had calls from citizens regarding things that were said at Mr. Brown's meeting. I replied by stating that the individual must consider the source of the sender of the message and the information. To the right of the excerpt from the library board meetings from January 4th, 2015, acknowledging their request for a reduction in permit fees. As you can see, President Price states that Director Flowers sent the City of Harvard a letter requesting that the building permit fees be reduced to $50,000 flat. He states that he hasn't gotten responses yet, but he's hopeful that the City of Harvard will honor this request. So again, Alderman Price was again doing his due diligence with respect to trying to make sure that both entities will work collaboratively together to ensure that this particular project will come to fruition. With that said, let me see.
That's not illegal to discuss. We can discuss it.
I would like to say,
Yes.
at this point, oh yeah, we have three.
No, the meeting, I've already voted, it's adjourned. Like Alderman Price said,
We can go on.
we can sit here and listen.
Absolutely. Where's Attorney Lewis? I just want to go
That's
for
what I
reference.
wanted to say
Right.
to the
Yeah.
public, because
Hey,
yeah, the motion was second, and I called the roll, and then,
the meeting is over?
you know, the meeting is over with, but the mayor has the wherewithal to go ahead on and do his report. And this is not in a meeting setting.
I mean, if I have to leave, I'll leave. I mean, if that will make it simple,
Oh, no, you don't, no. You don't have to leave.
because I already voted. Yeah.
That's very classy. Thank you.
Oh, why?
That's very classy.
There's nothing being voted on.
okay.
Just this part, since you're in the middle of it, after this meeting.
Yeah. After I finish this report, then we're going to adjourn. Well, actually, the meeting has been adjourned.
Right.
But just for informational purposes, I would like to take this opportunity to just present some information if the citizens don't mind, so I can present some facts. Again, this was the letter from the library where the director was indicating that the permit ordinance is 3% of the construction costs. So basically, she said the district was requesting a flat rate of $50,000. There was individuals that was going out in the neighborhood and talking about negative information about this particular collaborative agreement between the City of Harvey and the Harvey Public Library. As you know, the City of Chicago and South Holland are communities that are not separate entities. The City of Harvey is a separate entity from the Harvey Library. Again, to the right is a copy of the invoice that shows that the city worked in conjunction with the Park District to reduce their permit fees. Library. To the right is an excerpt from the library board meetings. January 4th, 2015, which clearly shows one of the individuals spreading negative information was at that meeting and aware of the significant permit reduction request. Unfortunately, the trustee from the library is not here today. I was going to point out that he left.
He was there.
Yeah. Okay. So again, President Price states for the record that auditorium remains named as the Bradley Auditorium, and the board members agree. President Price made a motion that the auditorium remains named as the Bradley Auditorium. As you can see, this particular faction is attempting to continue to focus on old issues that have been resolved. They are using old issues to build a negative public opinion of me and shape the opinions of the people in our great city. They are continually bringing up past issues as part of their toxic repertoire. In Germany, Germans call this city hall rat houses. And you can see why. People want to hear about the positive things at board meetings. For example, the response time of police and fire, pothole repairs, new equipment to improve city services, Cook County No Cash Bid program. Not this negative nonsense that goes on at these particular board meetings. Research shows that the strategic use of negative information is on the rise. Some use these tactics as an attempt to gain credibility. Their motivation is crystal clear. They want to deliver negative information to diminish the qualifications of my administration and myself to convince the citizens to not have trust in our administration. That's why certain aldermen walked out. I certainly want to thank Alderman Dewinski, Alderman Price, and Alderman Nesbitt for staying. The citizens that call are suspect of their motives. And that's why I said earlier before the meeting, I said we shouldn't have adjourned the meeting and went into the executive session because I saw the game that was going to be played. However, we're going to continue to move forward. They deliver misinformation and propaganda for self-serving purposes. We must counter this misinformation and propaganda with the truth in order to dispel the false information that is intended to harm our administration's reputation. Again, as you can see, the Alderman of the 4th Ward made just a very disparaging remark, and certainly those individuals that's breathing, and we understand who you are, who you work with, but the bottom line is I'm going to continue to do what I have to do. Now the question becomes, that's why Mr. Brown wants to leave. Is he eligible to hold the municipal office? Now, according to 65 ILCS, it said the person is not eligible for elected municipal office unless that person is a qualified elector of the municipality and he doesn't reside in Harvey. Secondly, eligibility to hold a municipal office. Now it clearly states that if a person is convicted of a crime, infamous crime, bribery, perjury, or felony, that he can't hold that seat. Yet still he continues to hold the seat. Again, as we talk about eligibility to hold the municipal office, it clearly speaks to the fact that he is an ineligible person sitting in that seat. After hearing the Information State statute, we have to ask, is Lamont Brown eligible or ineligible to serve as alderman based on 65 ILCS? Based on what we just saw, again, it says that if he's convicted of a felony, he shouldn't be there. According to Robert's Rules of Order, if a person is ineligible, then the council has the authority to sanction the individual and or remove that person who's ineligible. So again, hopefully the council will come forward and remove him based on the fact that he was convicted. Because Alderman Brown has remained sitting illegally based on state statute. I've displayed the law which clearly states that if you are a convicted felon, you cannot hold a municipal office within the state of Illinois. Alderman Dewinski stated at the last meeting, when we know better, we do better. Now that we know that he's sitting illegally, we must proceed accordingly based on the state statute. But I must ask again, why is this faction addressing the matter now that we are aware that Mr. Brown is sitting illegally? Do we recognize the vote? And then I ask the question, do we really have to recognize the vote of Alderman Lamont Brown, or even his presence? Is his vote valid? Will we have to undo all of his votes because he's seated illegally? Alderman Clark knows legally and ethically that Alderman Brown is sitting illegally, but he refuses to say anything because it provides him a platform to promote his personal agenda, in addition to allowing this faction to vote against the police, fire, street, and water department employees. Alderman Clark, as a practicing attorney, fought to enforce the law with respect to having an individual who was sitting illegally removed from the library board for the exact same reason, but yet still they won't remove Mr. Brown. Robert's Rules of Order also states that no motion is in order, that conflict with the laws of the nation or state or with the Assembly's constitutional bylaws. And if such a motion is adopted, even by unanimous vote, it is null and void. So no rule that conflicts with the rule of a higher order is of any authority. Thus, by law providing for the suspension by the general consent of an article of the Constitution would be null and void. So basically what it's saying, if in fact we know he's ineligible, then any vote that was casted by him is null and void. Since this council follows Robert's Rules of Order when conducting business of the city, and due to the information stated above, I must veto all legislation presented. And Alderman Joseph Winston wanted to know why I'm vetoing the legislation. Again, I'm vetoing the legislation presented by the faction because all of the presented resolutions are either in conflict with court orders, current code, or state statute. This missive was sent to the city clerk from my office regarding the legislation that was presented by Alderman Clark and Alderman Winston. Please note that this faction voted on a special meeting held on Wednesday, March 30th, 2016. And basically, I was saying, in light of the recent evidence that has been presented in the form of taped conversations, I'm sending this missive to inform you that the proposed legislation appears to be part of a diabolical scheme to implement change in a malicious manner within the city of Harvey. Unfortunately, moving forward, I'm skeptical to acknowledge any legislation or change presented by the faction that is conspiring against the city and my administration. The unethical and disingenuous changes that are being presented are not customary to our form of government, and to allow actions that are against our standard operation procedures further acknowledges the conspiracy and attempt to disrupt the city. The following ordinances will be vetoed due to the fact that these ordinances are an attempt to change the form of government, place the city in direct conflict with the state statute and court orders, and then violate Robert's Rules of Order. For example, Ordinance 3336, I will veto based on the fact that this ordinance violates statute and court orders and will put the city in violation of court orders. That's the email relative to the court order. Ordinance 3338, I will veto this particular legislation due to the direct conflict with Illinois Prompt Payment Act, which again, we talked about, Mr. Williams talked about earlier. I will veto Ordinance 3337. I will veto this legislation due to the fact that it does not comply with the GASB Governmental Accounting Standards Board and Governmental Accepted Accounting Principles as a modified accrual basis. This is not additional compensation. Ordinance 3340, I will veto this legislation based on the fact that this legislation exceeds the authority and changes the form of government. Disciplinary action is not a function of the executive branch of government. Ordinance 3339, this is another violation or direct conflict with the Illinois Prompt Payment Act, therefore I will veto this legislation. This is the number of times Alderman Clark and his accomplices have neither voted on bills or voted against bills or didn't show up, or just like walked out tonight. So just so again, we can add another list to that tonight. Tax levy, doesn't need to go through that. Mr. Williams did a phenomenal job. Tax levy, we don't need to go through that. Strategy exposed. The strategy exposed. The last city councilman said the audio that exposed the conspiracy of the faction. Their plot to dismantle this administration and destroy our great city. This makes you wonder why the faction voted unanimously for a project that would be part of the intergovernmental agreement with South Holland, but has failed to vote for tax levy, paying the city's bills, CDBG funds, cell tower expansion projects for businesses and worship centers. My administration will continue to fight the good fight and press to move our great city in the right direction. who will continue to seek new and innovative economic development opportunities to reduce crime in our city and provide quality service to our residents. So again, this is just the mayor's events. I certainly want to thank our outstanding clerk, outstanding treasurer, certainly Alderman Price and Alderman Ned for their due diligence to assist in that particular event. In conjunction with Ann Martha's Health Start program, presents Women's Health and Career Fair on May 13, 2016 from 1 to 4. Again, we want everyone to come out and be a part of this great collaborative initiative. Again, this is Chief, one of the, basically this is
Prosecuting Officer Gannon.
okay, yeah, this provided breakfast for the Harvard Police Department. Okay, now that'll conclude the report, and certainly I want to thank you guys for coming out. But we're going to continue to try to dispel the negative rumors with respect to those aldermen that continue to try to hold the city hostage.